Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's lesson. Let's see if this will work. Yeah. So, we're going to be looking at relaxation postures. And I want you to understand as we go through these different postures that relaxation is a relative term. So, someone who's been practicing yoga for a while, who does power yoga, who's built up a lot of core strength and a lot of flexibility, their balance, or excuse me, their relaxation postures may look a little different than another person's relaxation posture. So, all of these postures that I'm going to introduce and review, some of them are review, are considered relaxation postures. So, let's begin by looking at happy baby pose. So, happy baby pose is called Ananda, which means bliss, Balasana. So, Ananda Balasana. Um, Ananda, bliss, Bala, baby or child, and asana, of course, posture. So, some of the benefits of happy baby is that it calms the nervous system. All of these postures do this. So, maybe I should have done this on the first screen, but this pose is going to calm the nervous system. It's going to elevate your mood. It promotes hip and ankle flexibility. It tones your core, believe it or not. It can strengthen the upper body, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. It can stimulate the colon and relieve constipation or gas. And your drishti is skyward directly above the eyes. Now, this does have a trauma informed warning because obviously, if you look at the way that the posture looks, it can be triggering for some people. So, you want to avoid this posture if it bothers you and just do something else. There are some other options that you can do, such as wind relieving posture, which is an extended arm out, or excuse me, an extended leg out as you pull the other leg in towards the chest and towards the armpit. It also achieves many of the same benefits. I do not have a picture of it. I get these all from Canva. They're the free educational ones. So I could not find one on Canva, and I didn't take a picture of one with me. I need to do that. Anyway, happy baby. It can be done with one leg or two. So you can actually plant one foot on the floor and just do one leg at a time if that's more available to you. Let's look at the next slide. All right. It looks like I've got that. Oh, this is how you do it. This is how we do it. Okay. So for this posture, you're going to grab the outsides or the outer edge of the foot right here and press the low back into the mat. That's where you're working your core. You pull your knees toward the shoulders to the outside of the arms. As you can see, her knee is going to the outside of her shoulders or arms, depending on how much flexibility you have. This is what stimulates the colon and strengthens the upper body. And like I said, you can do half happy baby. So that would be Ardha Ananda Balasana, if you wanted to know the Sanskrit for that. And then switch. All right. So half happy baby, happy baby. All right. Of course, we know what child's pose is, and child's pose is Balasana. If child's pose bothers you, there are a couple different versions of child's pose you can do. But for this version, if it bothers your knees because you're on a hard surface, you can place a blanket under your knees if you need to. You can tuck your toes if your ankle flexibility is not where you would like for it to be. A lot of people who run regularly or play basketball may have some ankle flexibility issues. So tuck your toes or place the tops of the feet on the mat, whatever works for you. You can place a bolster between the hamstrings and the calves if you need to, and a block under your forehead right here. So I'm going to draw a block. She could have a block there. She could stack her fist and place one on top of the other and rest the forehead there. So there are some different modifications you can have with child's pose. All right, next pose, recline child's pose is a modification that you can do. So if it bothers your knees, then lie on your back and just hug your knees into your chest. This is called Supta Balasana. So Supta means reclined, Balasana means child's pose. And you can really strengthen the upper body if you really hug those knees in tight. Press the low back into the mat and gaze upward. You can even curl a little bit for an abdominal workout. Move up and down, moving your forehead towards your knees. They do not have to touch, just a little bit of variation there if you'd like. All right, next pose, modified child's pose, which is a great release in your upper back and shoulders. So for modified child's pose here, you can extend the arms backwards and the palms up, and that will help just relax your shoulders. You can place a block under the forehead if you'd like to rest your forehead on. Once again, you can place that bolster between your hamstring and your calves if you need a little bit of help there. Same modifications as extended arms. All right. Next pose is the reclined spinal twist, which we've been over. So the reclined spinal twist is also known as supta, or reclined rotating triangle or rotating pyramid. And you can use a strap under the foot to help you twist if you'd like to hold onto it with that hand. You can place a bolster or block under the top leg. So she's facing in the opposite direction, but this leg here that's extending out, you could put a bolster on the ground or the floor and rest your foot or ankle or your leg on that bolster. And you want to make every effort to keep your shoulders pressing into the mat. Okay. And you can extend that top leg outward or you can bend it at the knee. It's totally up to you, but it's a great twist to move into your final relaxation. I'm suffering a little bit from a sinus infection today. All right, so crocodile pose is a very gentle back bend, as you can see. This yogi is resting her forehead on her arms, but you can also stack your hands like this and rest your forehead on your hands. This is a great alternative to Shavasana for relaxation. Notice that the tops of her feet are on the mat. I like to bring my big toes together. It's an energy lock. Feel free to do that if you would like to. So crocodile pose is a nice gentle back bend. Fish pose, Matsyasana. All right, so I was going to take a picture of myself in fish pose with a bolster, but I did not do it. I forgot. So this version that she's doing is not relaxing, but it's what Canva offered and with a free educators account. So I am using it, but I do not like the way that she is extending back. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. You just have to be careful that you have the flexibility in your neck and that you don't hurt yourself, or you have a pinched nerve in your cervical area, or you have a disc that is giving you trouble. You obviously don't want to impinge a disc any further. She almost has the crown of her head on the mat. So my suggestion with this pose is that you get a bolster, place it right up against your sacrum, your low back, and allow yourself to drape across the top of this bolster. And that way the head would be up here. I'm going to draw a new head, and the neck would be more in line with the spine. And that bolster is giving support to your resting over it, kind of cascading over it. So that would be a restorative version of fish pose. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with this pose if you'd like to use it, or do it if it doesn't bother you. Another alternative is to use a block long ways between the shoulder blades here, and then rest a block on your head on a block up here. So a medium level and then a low level of the block. All right, so this is fish pose. Supported bridge. All right, I did take a picture of myself in supported bridge. I hate pictures of myself. I don't have these beautiful professional pictures, but supported bridge is great for relaxation. It is an inversion because your head is below your heart. And you take that block, you can barely see it, but it's right here, and you place it under your sacrum to support the low back. And it's a great pose to relax. Recline bound angle. Bring the soles of the feet together. Oops, let me clear my marks. So the soles of the feet come together, and then you allow these knees just to kind of splay out to the side. It's intense on the inner thigh. So these muscles here are really groin muscles. All of these are being stretched fairly intensely. So you can take a block and place it under each leg for support, and that will help. And you can raise the height if you would like. These hands can rest on the belly or they can rest down beside you. It's totally up to you. All right. And the next pose is seated forward fold. So we wouldn't sometimes think that this would be a pose that would relax you, but it is getting you ready, stretching out those hamstrings right there, keeping a bend in that knee. If you grab hold to the toes or you use a strap, you can get a nice calf stretch while you're doing this posture too. You're going to let this head relax like she's doing. And you don't have to touch your legs with your head. Your head may be up here, and that's perfectly fine. And your hands might be grabbing your calves. So let's draw a hand grabbing a calf. I don't draw very well with this application, but you get the picture. So don't feel like you have to force yourself down into a forward fold where your head touches your legs because you're going to tear something. We don't want to do that. All right. You can bring a block if you have if you have really long arms and your hamstrings are super loose. You can reach around and grab the top of a block, but don't force it, and get a little deeper stretch there. Okay. All right. Let's see what's next. All right. So surprisingly, some people might look at downward facing dog as being an intense posture. Look at how she's pulling that belly in with her breath. That's pretty amazing. She's really exhaling in down dog. That's why she's got that curve there. Um, so for those of you who are advanced or intermediate who love down dog as a resting posture, it is a relaxation posture. But for most people who are starting out in yoga, it's probably not the pose that you would choose to relax in, but it can be. So as you build up strength, stamina, balance, flexibility, cardiovascular strength, you're going to be able to use downward facing dog as a resting posture in a power yoga class. Corpse pose. Now, most people consider Shavasana the pose of relaxation, and they use it synonymously with relaxation. Shavasana is not relaxation. Shavasana is a pose, and it literally means corpse pose, not the most pleasant pose that we have in terms of name, but that is what it is called. So this is a pose that we normally relate to relaxation. You can place these hands on the belly. You can bend the knee and have your feet flat on the floor. You can put a bolster under those knees for support. And if you don't like the vulnerability of corpse pose because you are exposed, your arms are out, your internal organs are very vulnerable, it might make some people uncomfortable. And therefore, you might want to bend those knees. You might want to put your hands on your belly. You might want to place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly, or you might want to do crocodile pose or child's pose or another posture that you feel safer in. So these are relaxation postures that you can use to prepare for your final relaxation at the end of class, whatever that may be that you choose. All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you in the next video.